So now let's do number 6, make t the subject of the formula. So I could see that t is over here. So in terms of making it the subject of the formula, I want t to be equal to whatever. I just want t alone on this side. So one of the first things I'll do is I'll flip the sides. So I'll write u plus 5t on this side, and that is equal to v on this side. So now I know I want t to be the subject of the formula. So I want t to remain here. So I need to get rid of this u. So that u is plus u. In order to get rid of it, I have to minus u from both sides of the equation. So these u's will cancel, and I will have 5t remaining on this side, and that is v minus u over here. And now I have to get rid of this 5, so it's multiplied by 5. I'm going to have to divide by 5 to get rid of that 5. So now I'll have t alone on this side is v minus u. Remember, I have to divide by 5 on this side as well. And I'm not dividing the v by 5. I'm not just dividing the u by 5. I am dividing this entire side by 5. So this whole thing is going to be divided by 5. And there we have t is v minus u over 5. How do you feel about this, Caitlin? Did you get this?
Yeah, okay.
Alright. And Shazzy, how is this for you? Is this easy? Sorry, I'm not hearing you're breaking up. Could you say that slowly one more time?
I said,
you forgot a lot of the things? Forgot. Alright, so in terms of remembering, you're definitely going to have to go through all of those videos, right? And Shazzy, if you want me to stop and explain anything, just feel free to ask, right? Right. So in this case, we have to make y the subject of the formula. So that means that we're seeing y there among all kind of things. And I want to end up with y is equal to everything else. That is what it means to make it the subject of the formula. So what I would do is I would first rewrite the entire equation with y on this side. So I have 3y plus 2. So I'll put 3y plus 2 on this side. And then that is equal to x on this side. So now I have y on that left side of the equation there. But you notice I didn't change anything. Eh? All I did was flip it. It's really the same thing. So now I need to find what y is. I just need to make y, I need to get y by itself. So I need to get rid of the 2 and I need to get rid of the 3. So I was always saying that you want to start furthest away from the y, right? And then work closer into the y, right? So the furthest away from the y is the 2. So let's get rid of the 2. It's plus 2. So in order to get rid of it, I would have to minus 2. But I would have to minus 2 from both sides of the equation to make sure that it's equal. So this 2 and this 2 will cancel off, 2 minus 2. So now I'll have 3y is equal to x and then the minus 2 from this side. Yeah. And now I have to, this is multiply by 3. So if I want to get rid of this 3, I'm going to have to divide by 3. So if I divide by 3, these two 3's will cancel. So I'll just have y is equal to, but I also have to divide by 3 on this side. So that is all of this being divided by 3. So that is x minus 2, all of it is being divided by 3. Right? So Caitlin, how do you feel about this one?
Good.
You got it?
Yes.
Alright, and how about you, Shazzy?
Yeah.
Alright. Well, just let me know any problems at all, right? So I have to rearrange this to make x the subject of the formula. So first I'll rearrange it. I'll just switch the sides. So I have a half x on this side plus 1. And that is going to be equal to y on this side. And I want x to be the subject. So, and this is a really important one, right? So you can see I have a half x. I could get rid of this 1 first of all. If I get rid of that 1, I would have to minus 1 from both sides of the equation. So if I minus 1, these ones will cancel. I'll end up with a half x is equal to y minus 1. Now it have two ways to get rid of this a half. We have two ways to get rid of this a half. We could see that it's multiplied by a half, right? So at the end of the day, we could always just divide by a half to get rid of it. That is one way. It's not the easier way though, that is the harder way. The easier way is recognizing that a half x is the same as x on 2. Recognizing that a half multiplied by x on 1 just means that you are just multiplying fractions. So you'll get x on 2. So a half multiplied by x is the same as x on 2. So we could say x on 2 is equal to y minus 1. We didn't really make any change from here to here. They're both the same thing. So now that I see that this x is really being divided by 2, I can multiply by 2 to get rid of it. But I have to multiply by 2 on this side as well. So now I'll have x is equal to, all of this will be multiplied by 2. So I'll have 2 into y minus 1. How you feel about this, Caitlin?
Did I understand this?
You understand this, right?
Yeah.
All right. Now, if we was to leave the half, we didn't put the x on 2. We left it like this. So if we left it as a half x is equal to y minus 1, we'll realize that this half is being multiplied by x. So in order to get rid of it, I could divide by a half. So if I divide by a half, then these would cancel and I'll have x on this side alone. But on this side, I would also have to divide by a half, because I divided by a half on this side. So this would be y minus 1. All of this will be divided by a half. And remember the SCA algebra. When it is you're dividing by a fraction, you invert and multiply. So that will be y minus 1 multiply by invert and multiply 2 over 1, which is 2y minus 1. 2 into y minus 1. So we end up getting the same thing. You okay with this, Shizik? So make A the subject of the formula. This is a nice one. So I now have here A over 4 plus 8u is equal to s. Right? So I could get rid of the 8u first by minusing 8u from both sides of the equation. So I'm minusing 8u from here too. So now I'll have a over 4 is equal to s minus 8u. Right? And now we can see here that this a over 4 is being divided by 4. So to get rid of that 4, I'll multiply by 4. So these 4's will cancel. I'll end up with a alone is equal to, and I have to multiply by 4 on this side as well. But I am multiplying everything by 4. So it will be 4 multiplied by s minus 8u. And that is your answer. Number 10, make u the subject of the formula. So we have u over here. It looks complicated, but it's just the same business. I'll just rewrite it ut plus kt squared is equal to D. Right? I want U to be the subject of the formula. That's all that I want. So what I could do is I could take this KT squared and get rid of it. How do I get rid of plus KT squared? Same business, just minus KT squared. So minusing KT squared means these two will cancel. I'll now have UT is equal to D minus KT squared on this side, because I have to do it on both sides of the equation. Right? So now that I have UT on this side, I want U to be the subject. I want to get rid of T. It's being multiplied by T, so I can now divide by T. And that will actually cancel off both T's. So I'll have U is equal to D minus KT squared, and all of this will be divided by T, because you have to divide by T on both sides. You okay with this, Shizzy?
Yes.
Right? Caitlin, you get this?
Yeah.
Alright. Make S the subject of the formula. Same kind of business. I have U squared plus 2AS is equal to V squared. Right? And I want S to be the subject of the formula. So, I'll get rid of the U squared first. It's plus U squared. So what I'll do is I'll minus U squared from both sides. So that means that this will be cancelled. So I'll now have 2AS is equal to V squared minus U squared. Okay. Now I want S the subject of the formula. So I have to get rid of 2A. So S is being multiplied by 2A. So I could just divide by 2A on both sides of the equation. So now this 2A cancels off. I'll have S alone here is equal to V squared minus U squared. All of it is going to be divided by 2A. Okay with this, Caitlin?
Yeah.
You get it right?
Yeah.
You're ripping. This one is easy. I have to make T the subject of the formula. It's already in the place that I want it to be. 2 times T minus 5 is equal to Y. This 2 is being multiplied by the brackets. So I could just get rid of that 2 by dividing by 2 on both sides. So now this 2 is gone. And all I will have left is T minus 5 is equal to Y divided by 2 on this side. And now it's just to throw the 5 over. So now I'll have T is equal to Y divided by 2. And then I'm going to be adding 5 to that. And now T is the subject of the formula. You understand this, Caitlin?
Yeah.
Alright, nice. You okay there, Shazay?
Yes, sir.
Make N the subject of the formula. Well, 5N minus 21 is equal to M. So I could get rid of this 21 first, fling it across. 5N is equal to M plus 21. And then this is 5 multiplied by N. So I'm going to have to divide it by N. Not N, 5 divided by 5 to get rid of the 5. So now I'll have N is equal to M plus 21, and all of this needs to be divided by 5. Alright, remember you have to divide by 5 on both sides. Make P the subject of the formula. Q. So it's Q. You have to make the subject of the formula. 2Q plus 10 is equal to P. So 10, we'll throw the 10 across. 2Q is equal to P minus 10. And then we'll throw the 2 across. So it's multiplied by 2. And P minus 10 divided by 2. Shazay, you understand this one?
Yes.
Alright. Caitlin, you okay?
Yeah.
Right. Now, this is the one that that I really wanted to test you guys on. And it is make H the subject to the formula. H is inside a D. That is where H is. It's inside D. So I have the square root of 3H divided by 2 is equal to D. How do I get H out of it?
Throw the 2 outside. Spicy.
Throw the 2, huh?
Yeah.
No. And you know why you can't do that? Because that 2 is inside of the brackets. And outside of the brackets, I have this big square root sign. So I can't just take things inside of them brackets and start pulling them out. No. I have to get rid of that square root sign. So if that square root sign wasn't there and I just had 3H over 2, well then yeah, I could fling the 2 across because it have nothing blocking it. But that 2 is inside of the square root sign. How do I get rid of that square root sign? Let me give you a hint. The square root of 25 is 5. And
Yeah.
so that means that 25 is 5 squared. And this is your hint. Shazay, any thoughts on how to get rid of that square root sign? Yeah, by squaring the 5. But what we actually did was we squared both sides. Remember when we did indices? We saw this interesting thing where the square root of a number could be seen as that number to the power of a half. Remember that?
Yeah.
Right. So in other words, according to this here, the square root of 25 is 5. The square root of 25 is really 25 to the power of a half. And that is 5. Now if I was to square both sides, then I would have 25 to the power of a half, all squared, is equal to 5 squared. I square both sides. And we could see here, according to the laws of indices that we did, that this is a half multiplied by 2. So this 2 will cancel with this half, and I'll just end up with 25 alone is equal to 5 squared. You seeing that, Caitlin? In other words, if I have the square root of 25 and I square that, and the square root will kind of cancel with the square, and I'll just end up with 25. You get what I'm saying?
I did.
Now what tell me? What?
I tried 2 methods.
What's it? Well, tell me.
One of them was trying to chop off the square root symbol to this cube.
Cube?
I mean, square.
Right. So essentially, all you really have to do in a situation like this is square both sides. Square both sides. So if I was to take this whole thing and square it, then I would have to also square this, and so I have to square both sides. So therefore on this side I will end up with d squared. And then on this side, that square is going to cancel with the square root. Right? And you're going to end up with just your 3h on 2 alone. Is that what you did, Caitlin?
Yeah.
Right. So in order to get rid of a square root, you just square it. And to me it makes sense, right? Yeah. So if you look at the hint over here, we can see that the square root of 25 is equal to 5. So if I was to square the 5, I would have to square this side too. And when I square both sides, the square root is gone, isn't it? Yeah. So Caitlin, you understand how to get rid of a square root?
Yeah.
Right? You just square both sides. So now is business as usual. So now I could get rid of the 2. So now I'll have 3h is divided by 2 on this side. So it'll be multiplied by 2 on this side. And now I could say h is equal to 2 multiplied by d squared, all divided by 3. So how you feel about this, Shizzy?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Yeah, it's essentially, you could think about it like if you're just squaring the d. That's how you could think about it. You could think about it like if you're squaring the 5 on this side. So that means you would have to square this on this side. Yeah?
That's what we are always looking at it. Because 3h divided by 2 square, I think you have to find out everything that's inside the square.
Yeah, what you really had to do is get rid of the square itself. The square root. Yeah? Right, so you just had to get rid of the square root. And this is just a simple procedure. And it makes sense. And you all should have this hint written down on the side. Yeah, because this is the same as this. There are no differences. Yeah, both of them are exactly the same if you look at it. Right? So, nice. That's it for the subject to the formula questions. We will get more subject to the formula questions in the future. We'll get a lot more very advanced ones, right? Now, let's do this. Caitlin, how did you find this section was here? Easy or hard?
Easy.
Real easy, right? So obviously I don't need to do all 16 questions, but which questions would you like me to do, Caitlin?
Number 12.
Okay, number 12. What else? Oh gosh, now the easiest one? Jeez, come on. What else?
13.
Huh?
13.
13? 15?
14.
14? 16? 11? Alright, so let me just do from 10. And Shazay, anyone that you want to see in particular?
Well, you can see that
I'm not hearing you properly. I don't know if you're breaking up or what, but
yeah, no?
yeah.
Yeah, you want to select it.
You one that I selected already?
Yeah.
Alright. Well, let's just do a couple of the others, right? I just want to see how Shazay's thinking on this is. So let's just do these two. Because these two are pretty much the same as the rest of them when it comes to everything, right? 14 is equal to b plus 3. And I have to solve for b. So if I want, I could just flip it. I could say b plus 3 is equal to 14. B is equal to 14 minus 3. B is equal to 11. So that's okay for you there, Caitlin?
Yeah.
And Shazay, you alright with this?
That's it.
You understand how I get 14 minus 3?
Yeah.
Very good. So with this one now, I have negative 14 is equal to x So that is x. That is not x. I'm dyslexic. X minus 18. So let me just rearrange it. X minus 18 is equal to negative 14. I didn't change anything there. It's all still the same. And now I can just fling the negative 18 across. So x is equal to negative 14 plus 18. And if you remember the rules when it comes to adding, the rules in this case, and Shazay, I paid a lot of attention to the rules of adding when we did the first couple of classes that you missed. So hopefully you will get to remember the rules. But the rules in this case is if the signs are different, right? If the signs are different, you find the difference. So the difference between 18 and 14 is 4. And you keep the sign of the larger number. So the sign of the larger number is 18 plus. So this is going to be a positive plus 4. And of course, this is the same as 18 minus 14. Yeah? Positive 18, negative 14. Positive 18, negative 14. Nice. I don't know if that is crucial. It's not Right. So Shazay, Caitlin, are you okay with this, right?
Yes.
Yes.
So now let's get to this number 10, the one that Caitlin pointed out to us. Right? And well, this one is elementary. 22 is equal to 16 plus m. So I'll just flip it. M plus 16 is equal to 22. Right? You notice the m is positive and the 16 is positive as well. So because of the commutative law, I could write it as m plus 16 instead of 16 plus m. Addition is commutative, so they are both the same thing. So therefore m is equal to 22 minus 16. Where's 22 minus 16? 6. Yeah. So number 11. I'll just rewrite it in the different order. So this is negative 17x is equal to 340. So this is negative 17 multiplied by x. So I'm going to have to divide by negative 17. Divided by negative 17. So 340 divided by negative 17 is negative 20. Number 12. Um, 4r is equal to negative 28. R is equal to negative 28 divided by 4, which is negative 6. No, 6 4s are 24. What's 28 divided by 4? 7. 7 4s are 20. Duh. Yeah, I'm teaching since 9 o'clock this morning. Sorry. Negative 7. What has happened? Number 13. So with number 13, I have negative 9 is equal to n over 12. So I could rewrite this as n over 12 is equal to negative 9. This is being divided by 12, so I can multiply by 12 on both sides. So zap, zap. So now n is equal to negative 9 multiplied by 12. N is equal to 1, negative 1 to equal. So remember, you had to remember all of those rules, Shazay, when it comes to what's going to end up being negative and that kind of thing.
Well, actually, when I was in class teacher before, they actually stressed this a lot, so I still have an idea how to use.
And in them first 6 classes, I just stress it a lot again, because it is an important thing to stress. Yeah,
So,
it's very important. Those things are where students usually make their mistakes. So over here I have b over 9 is equal to 5 over 9. So I'll rewrite it as b over 9 is equal to 5 over 9. Now you could see here that if the denominators are the same and both of the numbers are equal, that means the numerators will have to be the same. So I can immediately say b is equal to 5. I can immediately watch that and figure that out. However, you could just work it out algebraically. You know you had to get rid of this divided by 9, so you multiply by 9. So you'll have to multiply by 9 on both sides. So this 9 cancels with this 9 cancels with this 9, and I'll get b is equal to 5. Number 15, 20, v is equal to negative 160. V is equal to negative 160 divided by 20. V is equal to negative 8. And number 16, negative 20x is equal to negative 80. X is equal to negative 80 divided by negative 20, which is positive 4. Negatives cancelled. Caitlin, you get all these right?
Surprisingly, yes.
Surprisingly, why is that surprising?
It's actually a little bit like too early.
Okay, well, we didn't correct everything, but I think you should be okay with those ones on the top there, right? Right. How about these? You figured out these? Of course they give trouble. These were not very easy ones. These were kind of tough, weren't they?
Yeah.
Right? So, let's get started, right? 14 less. So 14 less automatically tells me that I'm subtracting 14. So 14 is being subtracted. 14 less. 14 less than 8 times a number. So 8 times a number. We don't know what the number is. The number is unknown. Right? Is. So 14 less than 8 times a number is, that is equal to 3 more. So 3 more is plus 3. 3 more than 4 times the number. So they use the word the there to tell you that it's the same number. So you would have to use the same x. 4 times the number. What is the number? So we could see here that from this equation, so from this we could derive the equation 14 less than 8 times a number. So 8 times a number minus 14. 14 less than 8 times a number is 3 more than 4 times the number. So 4 times the same number plus 3. Is this the equation you got for the first one?
Yeah, somewhat.
Somewhat? Well, what did you do different?
I just didn't put the x by 8 as a mistake.
You didn't put the x by the 8. Where did you put the x?
I just had 1x in the whole equation.
1x through the whole equation. So we'll read out your equation for that.
8 minus 14 equals 4x plus 3.
8 minus 14 equals 4x plus 3. So you didn't see here 8 times a number. That means 8 times a number. And?
Yeah.
Right, 8 times a number. English is a hell of a thing though. So now that we have this, I could take this palm negative 14 and throw it across. It'll become positive 14. I could take this positive 4x and throw it across over here. It'll become negative 4x. So therefore what I'll have now is 8x minus 4x. And that will be equal to the positive 14 plus 3. So 8x minus 4x is 4x is equal to 14, 15, 16, 17. So x is equal to 17 on 4, which is 4 1/4. You alright with this, Shizzy?
Yes.
Alright. You understand how we got from the English to the algebra?
Yeah.
But it gets... You moving across?
The wording of the question.
Or the wording of the question? That is what will be confusing. Huh?
Yeah.
But you could see here that I just take it a piece at a time. Huh?
Yes, sir.
So that's all you really need to do. Take it a piece at a time. Right? Now, the rest of these guys are actually very tricky. Yeah? You could see, Shazay, that we started in this section with 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. So last class we actually did 1 to 7. 1 to 7 was the easier one. So these here getting into the harder ones. Right? And you have any idea what to do with this, Caitlin? The sum of 3 consecutive integers is 108. What are those integers? First of all, where's an integer? You remember where's an integer? Caitlin? Yes, so you can just say it's like a whole number. And we didn't do sets of numbers yet. So, you know, I just seeing if you remember it from the last time we did sets of numbers, right? But yes, it's just, you can just take it as, it could be positive or negative, integer. But it's just simply a whole number, right? So the sum of 3 consecutive integers is 108. So that means I have one integer here plus the sum of another integer here plus another integer here gives me 108, right? Where's the other clue that they give me? They give me that these 3 numbers are consecutive, which means that if one of them is 22, then the other is going to be 23, and the next one going to be 24. And if this was 45, then that means this would be 46, and this would be 47. All you understand, Shizzy and Caitlin?
Yeah.
Of course, we don't know what the consecutive numbers is. So we will call the first one x. And if we call the first one x, what do you think the second one is going to be?
Y.
No. Look at it. Look your hint right here. If the first one is 22, the second one is 23 and then 24. If the first one is 45, the second one is 46 and then 47. You can't use x, y, and z because they have no way to solve this. Yeah? So where's the second number? Shazay, if the first number is x, where's the second number?
X
What do you notice about these sequences, consecutive numbers? What do you notice about that? When I take this one here, what do I have to do to this one to get that one? And what do I have to do to this one to get that one? So what am I going to do to this one to get the next consecutive one? So this one going to be x plus 1. And that means that this number, next number here, is going to be x plus 2. And you understand why this is x plus 2? Look at these. Look at these. Right? So and all right, instead of saying x plus 2, in order to get the consecutive number, I have to take this number and add 1. And so if I take this number and I add 1, I gonna get x plus 2. And
Yes.
right. So my 3 consecutive numbers. My 3 consecutive numbers are now, if the first one is x, then the second one will be x plus 1, and the third one will be x plus 2. Caitlin, do you understand how I got my 3 consecutive numbers? You sure? All right, it's kind of cool, right?
Yeah.
Right. So now I could go ahead and solve and find out what the 3 consecutive numbers are. So these brackets here, I don't need the brackets because nothing is being multiplied here. So x plus 1 plus x plus 2 is equal to 108. I can just add the like terms. So x plus x is 3x, and then 1 plus 2 plus 3, and that is equal to 108, right? So therefore now I can just solve 3x is equal to 108 minus 3. 3x is equal to 105, is it? So therefore x is equal to 105 divided by 3. X is equal to what? 35. Is 35 the answer?
What was the question?
That is a good question. Look at the question up here. That one in green there. Huh? So they want the 3 integers. So we found the first one, which is x, which is 35. And the next one, so the first number is 35. The next one will be x plus 1. And which is 35 plus 1, which is 36, the consecutive. And then x plus 2, 35 plus 2 is 37. So now I have my 3 integers, 35, 36, and 37. And they will add up to give me 108. You understand, Caitlin?
Yeah.
You sure?
Yeah.
All right. Did you did you know how to do this consecutive number thing before?
No.
So you was using x, y, and z.
Yeah.
That is okay, because the first time that I did this when I was a kid, I did the same thing. I was using x, y, and z. Right? But you understand how to do the consecutive numbers thing now?
Yeah.
Alright, so guess what? Since you all understand, I will give you 5 minutes to do these 4 questions. But I don't want you to solve the questions. You know how to solve the questions. I just want to know what is the equation. Right? I go solve it. I go solve it. Solving it is the easy part. The hard part is finding the equation. So take these 4 questions and I'll give you 5 or 6 minutes. So 5 or 6 minutes, and see if you could do these, just the equations alone, and we gonna solve them after, right? So take 5 minutes.
X plus
X plus
x plus 1
mm-hmm.
plus x plus 2 is equal to
negative 126. Yes, that's it. All right, and it's the same 3 consecutive integers from the previous question, right?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, so we could work it in the exact same way, right? So we'll solve it just now. Caitlin, you understand how we got this?
Yeah.
And you got it?
Yeah.
All right, now Caitlin, since you did not answer first because you just like to not answer, so this is you getting punished for it, right? Because if you had answered first, you would have answered number 10, and then I would have asked Shazay for number 11. But since you stick and you make Shazay answer first, means you're gonna have to give me number 11. Then Shazay give him a number 12, and then you give him a number 13. So let me see. 3 consecutive integers such that the sum of the first integer twice the second and 3 times the third is negative 76. Any ideas, Caitlin?
I have x plus 1 and then in brackets x plus 1 by 2
X plus 1
plus
by
2.
so watch the first. What is the first number you have? X plus 1.
Now I have x by itself first.
X by itself, and then what? Plus
Plus
2 times what? X plus 1.
Yeah.
And then what? Plus
x plus 2 equals 3, then brackets x plus 2.
very good. That is it. Because we have 3 consecutive integers. So we know 3 consecutive integers could be represented by x plus 1 plus x plus 2. So those are our 3 consecutive integers there. And then we could see that the sum of the first, so we have the first here, twice the second, so we're going to have twice the second, and then 3 times the third. So take the third and multiply it by 3, and that is equal to negative 76. So did you get anything like this, sir?
I was close, but instead of putting 2x plus 1 at this, I had just put 2x and 3x.
Right. But you understand what we did here? Huh?
Yes.
You sure?
Yeah.
Alright, so we have the 3 consecutive integers, x plus 1, and x plus 2. Those are our 3 integers. And they say here that the second one, we twice in the second one, and we thrice in the third one. And that is equal to negative 76. Right. So we have 2 equations there. Very good job, Caitlin. Very good job figuring that out. That was excellent. Alright. So let me see your critical thinking skills, Shazzy. What about number 12? The sum of 2 consecutive even integers. What do you have there for that? So they must be even. And this is the thing, you had to read every word. So, Caitlin, any ideas for this? What did you do for this, Caitlin?
I had the x plus the x by itself first, and then the x plus the 2.
X plus
Is
2.
it equal?
Right. So you know, but my question is, what if this first x was odd? Because they say the sum of 2 consecutive even integers. Even integers. So my question is, how do you know this first x is even? This first x could very well be odd, and If I just have x as a number, that could be odd. So what can I do to this to make sure that it is even? What are some of the characteristics of an even number?
Divisible by 2.
Right. So how can I make sure that this is divisible by 2? How can I make totally sure of that? Huh?
2.
Not add 2. Multiply by 2. Huh? And if you take any number, if I take 3, which is an odd number, and I multiply it by 2, I'm going to get an even number. Eh?
Yeah.
And any number multiplied by 2 is going to give me an even number. Eh?
Yeah.
Any number multiplied by 2 is going to be even. And you understand? Both of y'all?
Yes.
Yes.
Right. So we show that 2x is an even number. We sure about that. Right? It's divisible by 2 for sure. Right? So if the first even number is 2x, what will be, because it's the sum of 2 consecutive even numbers, right? So plus, what is the next consecutive even number going to be? Think about an example of consecutive even numbers. If this first number here was 22, then the next consecutive even number will be 24, and if this number here was 38, then the next consecutive even number is 14. If this first number here was 16, then the next consecutive even number is 18, and so what is the similarity? How do I get from one to the other? What do I have to do? I have to add 2, and that's all. So next up is I have to take this even number that we found and add 2 to it. So I have a number that I am sure is even, and then I take that number and I add 2 to it. So I am sure that the next number is going to be an even number, because I'm taking an even number and I'm adding 2 to it. So that will be even. You understand, Caitlin?
Yeah.
And that is going to be equal to 106. Right? So, given this same kind of reasoning now, we know that an even number could be represented by 2x, because we show that 2x, no matter what x is, 2x is going to be an even number, because anything multiplied by 2 is even. So using the same kind of logic, and the hint is that 2x is even. That is the hint. So given that 2x is an even number, what is the sum of 3 consecutive odd numbers now? Sorry? So I'm using 3x as my first number. But how am I sure that 3x is going to be odd? How am I sure about that? Because remember, I was sure that 2x is even, because no matter what number x is, Once you multiply it by 2, you'll get an even answer. Eh? So if x is 3, then 2 3s are 6. Your answer is going to be even. So I am sure about that. But if I have 3x as the first number, what if x is 2? 3 2s are 6. So this first number is not odd. So how can I make sure that the first number is odd? How can I make sure? And the hint is that we are sure that 2x is even. We're sure about that. Because anything multiplied by 2 is even. So how can I make sure that my first number is odd? Caitlin, any ideas? You're reaching the how do you get from an even number to an odd number? What do you have to do? And I thinking the simplest thing here, right? Let me ask you something. And we are sure, do you both agree that we are sure that 2x is even? Yeah? So we should, the two earlier, sure that 2x is even, right?
Yeah.
So if 2x is even, wouldn't 2x plus 1 be odd? Caitlin, you see what I'm getting at? Yeah. So no matter what even number you have, if you have 26 and you add 1, you're going to get an odd number. Eh? So now we have our first odd number, 2x plus 1. I want 3 consecutive odd numbers. So what are my other odd numbers going to be? And we could look at examples, like say if I have an odd number being 33, then the next one is going to be 35 and the next one is going to be 37. Yeah? If I have an odd number being 5, then the next one is going to be 7 and the next one is going to be 9. What do I have to do to 33 to get 35? What do I have to do to 35 to get 37? What do I have to do from 5 to get 7? What do I have to do to 7 to get 9? So what do I have to do to 2x plus 1 to get my next number? That's all. So 2x plus 1 add 2. The 1 and the 2 will give me 3. So now the next number is going to be 2x plus 3. And?
Yes.
You understand, Caitlin?
Yeah.
And if I take this number and I add 2, then the next number is going to be 2x plus 5. You understand that, Caitlin?
Yeah.
And that is 189. So how the two of you guys feel about this one?
Good.
But guess what? It have more than one way to figure out this one. It have another way. And I'm sure one of you guys was thinking about it. And you know how, so this is the first way and this is the second way. And you know how we were saying that 2x is an even number, eh? And if 2x is an even number, that means that 2x plus 1 will be odd, and?
Yeah.
But wouldn't 2x minus 1 also be odd? You see what I'm saying, Caitlin? Right. So 2x minus 1 is also going to be odd. Because if I have any even number and I minus 1, I'm going to get an odd number. So 2x minus 1 is going to be odd. And then I do the same thing. I add 2 to each one. So the next one is going to be 2x. And then the minus 1 plus 2 is plus 1. And then I add 2 to this one, and I'm going to get 2x plus 3. And then that is 189. Guess what? If you solve both of them, you will get the same value for x. So everybody understand how we got these equations? And now do you need me to actually solve these equations, or you all could handle solving it yourself? What is that? You want me to solve it? I'm not hearing what you're saying, Shazia. We're all cracking up when you're talking. You could solve it. Alright. So now that we have the equations, alright, call out the equation for number 10 for me.
X plus x plus 1 plus x plus 2
Equal to what?
Negative 126.
And number 11.
X plus 2x plus 1.
You sure? Oh yeah, that's it. Twice and thrice. X plus 2 into x plus 1 plus 3 into x plus 2, and that is going to be equal to what? Huh?
76.
Negative 76?
So,
Alright. Number 12.
2x plus 2x plus 2.
And that is equal to what?
106.
And number 13. It will right here. 2x plus 1 plus 2x plus 3 plus 2x plus 5. Alright, so 2x plus 1 plus 2x plus 3 plus 2x plus 5, and that is equal to what?
I don't have
189. Caitlin, where are you? Are you awake?
Yeah, sorry.
Well, help me out a little bit now, right? And then the next one is 2x minus 1 plus 2x plus 1 plus 2x plus 2, is it? No, 3. Yes, thank you. Thank you, Caitlin, for making the effort. 2x plus 3. And that is equal to 189. So, do you guys understand how we derived all of these equations here? Caitlin?
Yeah.
You sure?
Yeah.
Alright. So here's what. For homework, I want you guys to just simply work this out, and you, next class, you don't have to work it out now. Next class, you will tell me what are these consecutive numbers. You understand? Alright? Remember, when you find x is equal to whatever, 3. That is not the answer. I want the consecutive numbers. So if x is 3, then the next one will be 3 plus 1, which is 4, and then the next one will be 3 plus 2, which is 5. And that is your answer. The 3 consecutive numbers is what I want. Right? So you understand what to do, Caitlin?
Yeah.
Alright, nice. Now, since we kind of missing half the class today, I actually kind of wanted to over us early today because we're missing half the people, right? However, we still have this exercise to complete. This exercise, though, is pretty much just like this first one here. It's just more of the same thing, right? It's really this one I was looking at. So when we come back next class, which is Tuesday, I want to see these here, and we will take a look at correcting these here. And we will also be moving on to a couple more things in algebra. We'll be moving on to things like substitution. We'll be taking a look at transposition. Just covering all of the basics.